Hey, friends! Welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. Come join me, your host, Nicole, for some hope-filled conversations about heartfelt entertainment that makes your heart swing. Hey, Hallmarkies! Welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. I'm your host, Nicole, and today I'm joined once again by my friend Brennan to talk about Three Wiser Men and a Boy. It was written by Paul Campbell, Kimberly Susted, and Russell Hainline. It was directed by Terry Ingram. The story begins 5 years later with the Brenner brothers preparing for another memorable Christmas. In a crazy turn of events, possibly brought on accidentally by the brothers themselves, the director of Luke's son Thomas's school holiday musical steps down. Luke is desperate to make his son's stage dreams come true, so he enlists the help of his brothers Taylor and Stephen. Meanwhile, the trio navigates meeting their mom Barbara's new boyfriend. Welcome back to the podcast, Brennan. I'm excited to have you on.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Of course, me too. It was a great movie.
It was so good. It was great.
Yes. What were your first impressions on Three Wiser Men?
Well, I just first want to comment on not Tyler, but yes, Tyler Andrews.
Yes.
He's the opening scene just right away. He
Yeah.
he is so funny and he plays comedy really well, which I really appreciate because we don't always get to see him in that kind of, funny, humorous role. Obviously, he had some more serious moments in this movie, but just right out of the gate, it's just wake up, he's in dad mode. Thomas is trying to get into the bathroom and it just draws you in right away like, oh, this is hilarious. I can't wait to see more. Their chemistry and their banter and they have a great camaraderie between the three of them. So it was great to see them back together.
I think so too. Yeah, I'm glad that they got to make a sequel to Three Wise Men and a Baby.
Yes, I agree. I love when Hallmark does sequels,
Yeah.
especially when the sequel's really good.
Yes, it was great. Great ensemble cast, just
Mhm.
like the first time.
Mhm.
Glad that everyone who was in the first movie got to come back.
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah, it really was. It was so good to see everybody.
So a message I took from this movie, it's a quote from Caroline when she's on her date with Taylor,
Mhm.
of course, played by Tyler.
Mhm.
And she says, when you're shooting for the stars, you still have to take and make a little time to visit the planets along the way. So basically, she was just saying, enjoy the journey and the little
Mhm.
successes in life.
Mhm. I really like that.
Great quote. Yeah. Very
It
true.
really was.
As the Hannah Montana song says, life's a climb, but the view's great.
Oh, I love that song.
Cue the
It's such
climb.
such great lyrics. That song, it really is so beautiful. It's
Yeah.
so good.
One of the best songs ever written, I think, in my opinion.
I think so too. I really think so
Yeah.
too. Yes.
So good. Back to Hallmark and Three Wiser Men. I also love when Susie says, I think towards the end of the movie, so it's in between the halfway mark and the end. Charming is when you may look foolish, but you do it anyway. And this
Mm.
was in reference to all Mark Leclerc's Christmas
Yeah.
decor, the Christmas explosion.
Yes. Yeah. What what did somebody say when they walked in? Like, oh, this looks like a blow up warehouse in here. The Christmas blow ups and
I think it was one of the kids, but I can't remember for sure.
yeah.
Super funny.
I love that Susie said that too. And it
Yes.
was I her character seemed I almost liked Susie more in this movie. I loved her in the first one, but I could tell that she kind of helps ground Stefan and kind of brings him back to himself and is always reminding him of who he is and how she sees him. And so I really appreciated that about her character this movie. I loved her this movie. She was
Yes.
great.
Yeah, me too. I do remember she said to Stefan in that scene, I don't even know who you are anymore because
Mm-hmm.
he wanted things to be perfect with the play. And he thought
Mm-hmm.
that having the Christmas explosion would fix everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, exactly. She's not afraid to be honest and just tell him, hey, you need to tone it down a little bit. You need
Yeah.
to remember who you are.
Yes. Not
Mm-hmm.
everything has to be perfect all the time.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, because that's probably going to be impossible.
Yes. But moving on to our hits, what did you like about this movie and what are some favorite or standout moments?
Hmm. My favorite scene slash moment is probably the car scene when the brothers are in the car, much like in the first movie. But I really love that because it's a scene where they're just very vulnerable with each other. And I really liked how this movie and the first movie, but maybe more so a little this movie, it touches on things like family brokenness
Mhm.
and Stefan mentioned anxiety, real things that people are going through and I'm sure many of the viewers are going through and can relate to. And I think each brother is someone that someone can relate to, whether it's
Yeah.
Luke or Stefan or Taylor. So I love that car scene because it's just a moment where they can be real with each other. All three of them got to say how they're really doing
Yeah.
and just listen to each other and be there for each other and just be reminded, hey, we love each other, we're here for each other, and we're family.
Yeah, it was a good scene. That
Mm-hmm.
was my favorite scene in the first movie, or one of
Mm-hmm.
my top favorite scenes in the first movie. And I
Me
think it's
too.
number two favorite scene in this movie.
Mm.
My
Yes.
number one favorite scene is the moment with Taylor and Thomas when they're
Oh,
sitting in the blanket fort.
yeah, that was so good. So sweet. It was just a very tender moment between a nephew and an uncle, and you could really see how much Taylor loves Thomas.
Yeah, she really
That
does.
was beautiful. I think he's a big softie.
I think he is too.
Yeah, he's natural with kids.
Yes. Was there a moment in the first one? I feel like there was when he called himself the fun uncle.
Yeah, right.
The funkle.
That's so true. That was so good. I when they all showed up to the Christmas play for the first time when the
Yeah,
director quits and Taylor shows up and he says, "I'm the cool
cool
uncle."
one.
And then Stefan shows up and he's like, "I'm the cool
I'm
one."
the
And
cool one.
the director's like, "Oh, you're the dad." "No, I'm the cool uncle." "Oh, okay, so you're the dad."
Yep.
That was
Oh my
great.
goodness. Yes.
I loved just the comedy just flowed through the whole movie and the banter and the comedic timing and it was throughout the whole movie and I that was great.
Yeah. I wrote down the physical comedy and banter too in this
Mhm.
movie, like the first one. A lot of funny lines in this one, just like the first one. So yeah, it was great.
Yeah, so many good one-liners.
Yes, I don't have it written down, but Tyler's kind of snark to the apartment manager or the one that was kicking him out of his apartment. His
Mm,
comment about the tie was hilarious.
that was so good. And the landlord is just
Landlord, yes,
I don't know how that actor just had a straight face. I would break down.
yes. I think it was something along the lines of your tie really brings out the stare in your eyes or something.
Right, right. Yeah, it was so good because you can tell he's trying to butter him up, but it's just not working.
He's like, nope, you're still being kicked out.
Yeah.
Poor Taylor.
Poor Taylor, he tried so hard.
With his eviction notice, I felt so bad for him.
I did, and that was a really pretty eviction notice. Like, it
Yeah.
was it was, like, Christmassy, and I'm like, "What? Don't make it pretty, like, it's an eviction notice." I thought that was kind of funny. I was like, "Wait, there's poinsettias on it. What is
Yep.
happening?"
And Taylor was like, I'm about to make a 7-figure deal. And
Mhm.
the landlord was like, well, you said that a few months ago. And I'm like, oh, Taylor.
Taylor, buddy. Oh, trying to
Oh,
save yourself. You're really trying.
yeah.
Poor guy.
One thing I really loved in this movie was seeing Andrew as a dad to
Mhm.
Thomas.
Yes, I loved that as well, and I thought it was so great how he and Sophie got married,
Yeah.
and he has just taken on this role of dad, and you can tell Thomas just loves him so much and just adores him, and he just throughout the movie he was calling him dad and daddy, and just Andrew's character Lou, you tell he's just so proud just to
Yeah.
raise this little boy, and it was just so sweet.
Yes, it really was. And we know that Andrew is a dad in real life. So I think it played very well on screen as well. So,
Oh, absolutely. He's a
yeah.
natural, and I'm
Yes.
sure that was really fun for him.
Yes. Luke's relationship with his fellow firefighters, I thought was nice. And
Mhm.
we didn't get a whole lot of scenes with them. I kind of wish we had maybe a couple more scenes with him at the fire station. But I understand it was probably part of the story that there weren't as many scenes. So it's okay.
Mm. I know what you mean, and I would agree with that, especially since him being a fire chief, that's a really big
Yeah,
deal, and it would have been nice to see
yeah,
a little more of his work life, and
yeah,
yeah, what is his life like as a fire chief, and
yeah,
but I agree, there's only so much that they can
yeah.
fit in.
The side stories with Taylor and Caroline, and then Roy and Barbara, I thought were really fun. And Roy is great. The actor who played Roy is fantastic. He's been in a couple of other things I've seen too.
He is so fantastic, completely believable,
Yeah.
and he and the mom, obviously as characters, but
Yeah.
just as actors, they had great chemistry
Yeah,
together.
they
They
really
were
did.
totally believable. It was
Yes.
so sweet.
And of course, Margaret Collin, I think I said this in my review of the first movie, but she was in the film from, I think it was the 80s, 90s, Three Men and a Baby. So it was awesome.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot about
I've
that.
never seen that movie, so I can't remember what year it came out.
Oh,
It's
gosh, I
long.
have seen it, but honestly, I think I was a kid when I saw it, so it's been a minute.
I think it was before I was born.
It's okay. It's a classic.
Yes, but it is a classic film.
Oh, that's so cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's something fun.
Yes, Margaret Collin is her name. And she's
Yeah, she's great.
Luke at home. We mentioned a little bit of this a few minutes ago when he's standing in front of the mirror talking to himself. You're
Mhm.
strong, capable, a warrior. There's no obstacle you can't overcome. And I
Mhm.
love how Thomas just runs in and interrupts him.
Right.
And then Sophie's like, did you take out the trash? And he's like,
Yeah.
oh, crud. I didn't take out the trash. And he runs out in his robe.
In PJs. I know. It was just such a great opening scene into what his life is like now as a dad and a husband. Just right out the gate, like he
Yeah.
can't even have a minute to himself before the kid's interrupting. He's running after the garbage truck.
Yes. He's like, this is not Christmas spirit.
Right. Right. It was so good. Definitely started out with a bang.
Yes, I think so too. The
Mm.
moment with Stefan and Susie at the beginning of the movie, I really loved when he brings her flowers and they talk about how work went for her the night
Mhm.
before. She is the costume designer for the
Mhm.
play.
Mhm.
And then he kneels and she thinks he's proposing. I loved her reaction in that moment. She's like, oh,
Yes. Right. And then she's like, oh, what else would I think when I see my boyfriend kneeling down in the street? Like,
she tries to play it off like, oh, no, I didn't think you were proposing. Not at all.
not at all. Why would I think that? Doesn't even cross her mind. She doesn't think about it at all.
So
I did think it was cute when he said that he got her flowers just because.
just because, yes.
I thought that was so sweet.
Yeah. Can we talk about the Skype/Zoom/FaceTime call with Barbara, Luke, Taylor, and Steph?
Yeah.
Like she was on mute and she couldn't figure out how to get herself off of mute. And then she changed her Zoom background to space and she's like,
that was hilarious. And Stefan's like, why is mom in space? It's just and Tyler's just like, mom, no, click this. Like and Luke is like, mom, no, do this. Like you just see all their personalities like
you really
all
do.
together.
Yeah.
And I thought it was so hilarious when you find out that Taylor, you see the employee taking his sign down and then he's fighting with it with her, like and then his face like creeps in on the side of the screen and then it pulls back out. Oh my gosh. Just and then he sits back down and you can just tell he's just so defeated, like, oh man, secret's out. I don't have my own office. Poor guy.
Also, when Barbara says, I love doing these Zoomings, and Luke is like, we're not on Zoom, Mom, and no one says Zoomings.
Yeah. I love that. She's so funny. I love that we got to see so much more of her in this movie because she is fantastic. And okay, there was one comment she said that I thought was so funny when Roy is with them for dinner for the first time and she says, oh, he helped me decorate. And then she says, yeah, Roy is really good with his hands.
I cracked up. That was hilarious.
I was like, oh my goodness, mom just went a little Hallmark dark.
Hallmark extra dark.
Hallmark extra dark.
Yes, I brought that back.
I mean, I wouldn't expect that with Roy, but you know, who am I to judge?
Oh my goodness. Oh.
That was hilarious.
That really was funny. I loved the family dinner with Roy and Stefan's reaction to his mom having a boyfriend was hilarious. Like he literally was just like, ooh.
Yeah. Right. Just okay. I need a minute.
And then later on, he claims that he didn't faint. He was just resting his eyes.
Right. Yes. Yes. Nice save.
The first play rehearsal for How the Grump Ruined Christmas. And of course, I think it was Taylor who was like, why not the Grinch? And the teacher was like, nope, we couldn't afford that. So it's How the Grump Ruined Christmas instead of How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
I thought that was so great. Just how the teacher was like, nope, we don't say that word.
Nope, we don't say that word. Yeah.
We don't talk about the Grinch.
I thought it was hilarious how Mr. D, that's the teacher, he is venting to Taylor and Stefan about the play.
Oh, that was hilarious. He just started just going off and just like, oh, parents just, they don't really care. I'm just a free babysitter and I do all the costumes and this and that. And he's just kind of like a tornado and Stefan and Taylor are like, oh, okay.
Yes.
Like, poor guy.
That was really funny. Yes.
That was really funny. I did enjoy that.
Yeah. And then Taylor's meet cute with Caroline. Caroline is seriously like the female Tyler Hines.
She really is. The first time they saw each other with the slow motion, and
The candy
she has
cane.
a candy cane and he has a cookie, and they were fantastic together. And I totally agree with you. When the Luke and Stefan said she's the girl version of you, that's when I realized, oh my goodness, she totally is. And I really like that actress. She's
I do
been
too.
in a couple other movies. Did you ever see that show she was in? It was called Being Erica.
No, I've never even heard of that, I don't think.
I think it was, I don't even remember what network it was on, but it's about, basically it's about this woman, this young woman she plays. She gets to time travel and go in the
Okay.
past and see the past of her life. And that was probably back in maybe the late 2000s, but it was a
Okay.
great show.
I'll have to look it up. And
Yeah. So I immediately recognized her, like, oh my goodness, I love her. It was so good to see her again.
yeah, she's great. And she's been in some other Hallmark movies too that I've seen.
Mm.
I can't put my finger on which ones, but I know she's
Yes.
been in some other stuff. And she's
And
great.
she's so funny too.
Yeah, she's great. And
Great
she did
humor.
a great job in this role.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I forgot to mention this from the family dinner when they're talking about how Barbara and Roy met on the dating app 6 months ago, and Stefan is like, that's half a year. And Taylor's like, nice math there.
That was so good. Because Stefan is so serious. He's like, that's half a year. And Taylor's like, yeah, bro. Good job. It's just,
Yeah,
I kind of love how they give each other such a hard time.
me
It's
too.
so great.
And when Taylor suggests that they spend the week at their mom's house, I
Mm-hmm.
love how Luke is like, I have work stuff. Taylor,
Mm-hmm.
sounds like a lot of vague stuff.
Right.
Because Luke is trying to get out of it.
He definitely is.
And Thomas is like,
Oh,
can we stay, Dad?
yes. And it's, oh man. And then you think, oh, you can't say no to Thomas.
No.
Oh, did you know right away that Taylor was just trying to move back in his mom's house, or did you think he really was trying to, like, I don't know, do something genuine?
The first time I did think he was just trying to do something genuine.
Yeah. Yeah,
But of course, the second time, I was
definitely.
like, yeah, he lost his job. So he's just trying to find somewhere to stay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And once he got down in the basement, his reaction was so good. Like,
Oh,
I'm
Mom!
home. And they're all screaming for their mom. And
Yeah. And then Stefan's like, Mom!
yeah, that was so good. Paul
Yeah,
Campbell is also hilarious.
he is. He
That
is.
was great.
Yeah. I love how Taylor is the one that says Ma. He's like, Ma!
Yes. Yes.
Instead of Mom. Because, back in the old times, like in When Calls the Heart Times, Mom
Mhm.
was called Ma.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yes.
Ma and Pa.
Yes. I mean, that was just expected. So
Yeah.
I know it was like, oh my gosh, these guys are going old school.
Yes. I love that. And I think
I
it
do
was
too.
in the first movie too, of course.
Yes.
So yeah, it was great.
Yeah. It's so good.
The meeting with Principal Decker was hilarious when they're
Oh,
all squished together on the sofa.
that was so funny. And they just have that like look on their face like, I can't believe we're back, getting yelled at by the principal.
Mhm.
It was great how they show the principal's picture
Yep.
and then like his face, and like he looks exactly the same, like
Yeah,
same
he does.
expression.
Yeah. And then Roy comes in because Roy is going to be the supervisor, and they're like, oh, great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's inserting himself into our life.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Yeah, yeah, you can tell at that moment they're not ready for it. They're just like, "Hey, my guy, we got this."
Yeah.
Like leave us alone.
Yes. Like, we don't need your help.
No. Nope, we got this. We'd rather have our old neighbor come help us.
Mhm. The second rehearsal, but the first with Luke, Taylor, Stefan, and Caroline, all as a team. The team huddle, and I chuckled when Taylor was like, "Yeah, the kid's right. The show's a dud." And then Luke that talk, and then this line, I cracked up both
Mhm.
times I've watched it so far. When the kid Dev is like, "My dad quit his job because he suspected acts of corporate malfeasance." And Taylor's like, "How old is this kid?" And
It's
Stephen's like, "That's impressive vocabulary."
It really, really is. It's so good. Because Taylor, he's kind of just a big kid himself.
Yeah.
So it was so funny how he was kind of like in with the kids, like commenting, like, yeah, this stinks. And then all of a sudden, he's like, oh my gosh, you were really smart.
Yes. Oh my goodness. And if I remember correctly, the kid that plays Dev was in, I think, the When Calls the Heart season 6 Christmas movie. He was one of the
Oh,
orphans, I think, from Brookfield that came to town with
oh, oh, wow. I didn't catch
Austin
that, but that's
and
so cool
Morgan's
you noticed
character.
that.
Yeah, I think. He looked very familiar, so I think he
Yeah.
was in When Calls the Heart.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm sure you're right. That's neat
yeah.
though. I'll have to go back and
Yeah.
catch that. That's really cool.
I think his name is Sebastian, if I
Okay.
remember correctly. But yeah, he's a great young actor.
Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah, they cast some great
Yes.
kids.
Yeah.
They really did.
And Thomas was played by Miles. I apologize if I mispronounce his last name, Marthaler. He is Remy Marthaler's brother, and Remy is Sarah Wolf, Robert's sister on When Calls the Heart.
Oh, that is so cute.
So yeah, great
That's
little
so sweet.
When Calls the Heart connection, kind of, in a way there.
Yes. Yes, it's a total connection.
Yeah.
That is so fun. I love that.
Yeah. And he's a great actor too. He did a great job as Thomas.
He did a great job. He was
Yeah.
so adorable, just such a cutie. He was so funny himself and just
Yes.
you could tell he was having fun and just was getting into everything, the guys were doing and yeah, they really, I mean, he seemed like they were a family for real. It was absolutely believable.
It really was.
Mhm.
So Christmas Pictionary, that was another favorite moment. That was so fun.
That was really, really fun. And it was so funny just how fast everybody was going. And when the mom was doing it, Roy seemed to get it. Like the mom and Roy seemed to get each other's every time. And
Yeah.
like all three of the guys were always like, what? Like, huh? Like,
Yes. And then they had the bet with the costumes on, I think it was whoever loses wears the costumes. So
mhm.
the boys lost and
Yes.
had to wear the costumes the next day for rehearsal.
Yes. I thought it was so great how we got another costume
Yeah.
scene. A little different, the costumes this time,
Yeah.
more of like a candy cane, which I liked. And it was so funny how they were going through the school and
Yeah.
all the kids were just like their slow motion expressions and like that one kid he puts his hand out for a high five and like
Which
so adorable.
were great.
So great.
Yeah. Of course, love a good gingerbread decorating scene with
Mm.
the Brenner family, Roy and Susie.
I agree. It's always good to see a good gingerbread
Yeah.
scene.
Do you make gingerbread houses every year or decorate them, I should say?
I don't, growing up, we would, my siblings and my mom and I, we would make gingerbread houses sometimes, but mostly we would decorate gingerbread men cookies.
Okay, yeah.
I haven't done that in years, but it was so fun.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
fun.
What about you?
We try to. Sometimes we don't. A couple years ago, one of my cousins and I attempted a gingerbread village that we got
Oh,
from Target.
that-
It failed.
oh, really? Did it come in like a kit?
It came from Target, one of those kits from
Oh,
Target.
sure. Oh,
And the candy wasn't staying on the roof. One of the
no.
roofs chipped, so I don't think we used that one.
Oh, no.
I think it came with 4 miniature homes, and
Sure.
I think we ended up with 3 because of the roof on the other one.
Oh, no. It's not your fault. It was the kit. It was a defect.
It was a defect, but I mean,
Exactly.
even if they mess up, that's the fun of it, so
It is the fun. Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. It's just putting something together, with friends and family and having a good time.
yeah, very true. I think one of my other top favorite scenes was Taylor and Caroline's first date with their dance battle, and then, of course, the talk after. That was great.
That dance battle was great.
Mhm.
That
Yeah,
was really good. Do you think that was really them dancing?
I think it's possible, maybe.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. I
That
think
was great. I
yeah,
was not expecting that at all. I mean, it was a whole dance. It was like half a scene. That was so fun.
yeah, it was at least 2 minutes,
Mhm.
2.5. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was almost a whole song, I think.
Yeah.
It was
And
great.
I agree with you. I liked their talk after, and I really liked just the way it was filmed. They're walking through the
Yeah,
arcade, but it's not like a still, like the camera's stopped, but you just see them walking. Like the camera was like moving with them, like through the arcade, and
yeah.
I thought that was cool. And then their conversation was great, really good.
Mm. Harry did a great job with the whole movie, but that scene, he did a fantastic job, just the way that the camera was angled and
Mm-hmm. Really good. I don't think you don't see a lot of Hallmark scenes in an arcade, so that was really fun.
oh, it was really fun. I agree.
Yeah.
And it probably wasn't, but it did kind of look like Just Dance for Wii.
That is what it reminded me of because I used to do that all the
I
time.
did too.
And that just brought me back. I'm like, oh, this is a Just Dance. It totally is.
Mhm. We used to do that every year at Christmas. My brother
Oh,
had a
really?
Wii, and we would play Just Dance, me and him and a couple of my cousins and I.
Oh, so fun. Those are so fun. Yes.
I'm trying to remember some of the songs that were on the one we had. I think there was the Selena Gomez song, Love You Like a Love Song.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
And then Living the Vida Loca. I think that was another song.
Classic. Yes, so good. You have to dance to those.
Yep. Yep. And then Party Rock Anthem, I think, was another song on there.
Mm-hmm. So good. Yes.
Like all
Mm-hmm.
those classic 2010s hits.
Yes. Yes, that's so true. Did you ever I'm dating myself a little bit, but did you ever play Dance Dance Revolution?
I've heard of it. I've never played it.
It was like pre Just Dance,
Yeah.
but you could have it, I mean, at home, but you'd set up a mat and then you'd step on like different arrows on the mat and it
Yeah. I've heard of it.
yes.
It's so fun.
Those are so fun. They really are.
Yes. I was in high school when we played it every year for Christmas. There were,
Mhm.
I think, 3 or 4 consecutive years we always played Just Dance on the
Oh,
Wii at Christmas time.
that's so fun to have that as a
Yeah.
tradition.
Yes. It really gave me a workout, I'm not gonna lie.
It really does because you kind of watch and you're like, oh, this is easy. I can do it. And then you're doing it and you realize, oh man, this is harder than I thought. They make it look so easy.
Yes. This was right after Taylor and Thomas's talk in the blanket for it. And it's the conversation that Luke has with Taylor and Stefan about Thomas and coming up with a new plan for the play. I thought that was a great moment between the three brothers.
Me too. It was nice to see them, get on the same page, work together, and do something that was best for Thomas and the whole play. It was just a good, I think, humbling, sacrificial moment for all of them.
I think so too. And can we talk about the third rehearsal with them teaching the dance to the kids?
Oh,
their
that
reaction. They were just standing there like, what do we do? Like the one girl was like,
yeah. It was so good. That was probably one of my other favorite scenes because the brothers are just so into it and they're doing it. And I agree, the kids are like trying to, but their expressions, they're so confused and the guys are going way too fast. And it's so funny. I love that they tried to teach that to the kids.
Yes. And then we got to talk about Mark Leclerc for a second. That whole scene when they meet with him about the play, and he's like, okay, what's going on? What's the plan?
Right.
How long we got?
Right. Yes. Kind of back to he's not mean anymore, but he's back to that kind of Mr. Christmas, let's go vibe.
Yeah.
It was kind of fun to see his character again. I didn't expect that. So when he pulled up, I was like, oh, hi.
Yes. What was it he called him when he pulled up in his truck? That was hilarious. He's like, what's up?
That was so funny. Like, oh yeah, you need me? Like he's kind of cocky, but it's funny.
Oh my gosh. And then when they're meeting, and I think it was Luke, he's like, we've got 2 days. And he's like, okay.
Like, what have you guys done?
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
And we get to the rehearsal with all the Christmas decor from Mark. And then Roy shows up and he's like, what's up, Pastor?
Yeah. So funny.
Roy starts talking and he mentions how I think it was Mark who was the first one to say booyah after a baptism.
Right. I love that expression. Anytime anyone says booyah, it just, oh man, it takes me back.
And he said it made the congregation very uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
It probably would make me uncomfortable too. I'm not gonna lie.
For sure. Just taking it back a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. It's still funny. I mean, still funny.
So funny.
Yeah.
So funny. Oh my goodness. Yes.
Every time I hear the word booyah, I think of Kim Possible.
I do too, Nicole. I was just thinking that. Okay, I love that you said it because I was going to say it and I didn't say it. So I'm really glad you said it because I think of that too. Because Ron Stoppable would always say it.
Ron Stoppable would always say it. That was his line.
He would.
Booyah.
Booyah. Oh my goodness.
Call me, beat me if you want to reach me.
So good. I still have always thought it'd be fun to, I don't know, somehow have that as one of my ringtones.
Oh yeah, that would really be fun.
Such a great show. Yes. Oh, I love it.
So fun. This was a brief moment, but the father-son talk with Luke and Thomas about the play when, Luke is apologizing for things not going to plan. And he says, I'm here thinking about what could have been, and you're here thinking about what was. Because Thomas said, it's okay. I still had fun. It was still a great week.
Yes. He's just such a sweet, sweet boy and just always sees the good. And he's just a very grateful kid.
Yeah, he really is.
And
then we get Taylor confessing his feelings to Caroline in their first kiss. That was a great moment.
That was really, really sweet. I really liked that.
Yeah. And they had great chemistry too.
They had fantastic chemistry. I would love to see them together again.
Yes.
They were great together.
Can we get them in a movie? I think she needs a leading role. I don't think she's ever had a leading role before.
I think she definitely needs a leading role. She could do it.
Yes, she would do a great job.
She would do a great job.
Hallmark, if you're listening, we want a movie with those two.
Yep. Let's get to it.
And we know you're listening.
Winter, spring movies are coming. You got to have material.
Yes, we know you are listening. Because we've asked for other things and we have gotten them this year.
Yep. We know you're lingering. We know.
Yes.
We know you're on here sleuthing.
Yes. This was really brief too, but I loved Luke's speech at the Decorate Your Home auction when he says that, you know, he wants to be there, but he is on dad duty that night.
I thought that was really sweet, and just how he just was so real and like, no shame. Like, I'm a dad, you know, this is, you know, that's my priority.
Yes. I thought it was very touching, very sweet.
I agree. It definitely was.
And then the Christmas play, everyone did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Have the talk with Roy before the play,
Mm-hmm.
and then Taylor's talk with Stefan when he hands over the reins to be the grump.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Taylor says it was you all along.
And Stefan did a great job.
He did.
His grump he was a great grump.
Yes.
He really got into it.
I loved his pep talk with June at the beginning before the play. And then, you know, she ends up saving the play when he gets stuck on the string.
Yes.
She sings the song.
Yes, that was so beautiful.
Yeah, she did a great job. And
she did. Yeah, she was so cute. She was fantastic.
I laughed in a way when Stefan got stuck on the rope. Not getting stuck per se, but just his reaction to getting stuck was hilarious. He was like, I want off. I want to get off.
Oh, I did too. It was so funny.
Yeah. And they're all trying to work together to pull him down. Right. And it's just like not working.
Right. Because it's just, I mean, it's like, it's so Stefan. Like, oh, of course that would happen to him, but it's kind of funny.
And Christmas was saved.
Christmas was saved.
Say it fun.
It was so good.
They all did a great job. And Kimberly's cameo as Dr. McLaren was great. She said, "What a show." So I was a little worried because last year's show was so good. It's hard to follow up a hit with another hit.
I was so happy to see her. I wasn't expecting that at all. So when she came on screen, I immediately was like, oh, yay, did we get another cameo from her? Because I love Kimberly. She's so terrific.
She's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I love how that line was kind of a nod to the sequels that Hallmark has had.
Oh, it was. I didn't think of it that way, but I think you're right. It really was.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, Nicole, that's so good. I love that.
Me too. And then Stefan's proposal to Susie, I thought was really sweet. And of course, there's no ring, but Taylor tosses Stefan his ring until they get one.
That was so, so sweet. I love that. And you can just tell their characters really love each other. And it really was just so sweet and charming. And oh gosh, was it Taylor that said, someone was like, oh, my man, or, you know, I love how they were just all watching and just rooting for him during that moment. That was a really sweet proposal. And I almost thought because there was no ring, it was that much sweeter.
I think so too. And I love before he kneels, you know, she says, "You're supposed to kiss me." And he's like, "I know." And then he gets down on one knee. And
is so cute because that time I don't think she was expecting it.
No, I don't think
Mhm. Mhm.
it was really sweet. I thought they had great chemistry too.
They had great chemistry, and I think I liked their scenes together in this movie
Yeah,
even better than the first one.
yeah, me too.
Um, when she told him he was telling her, how broken he thinks he is, and he's looking to fix himself, and she tells him it you don't have to fix anything. Like it's
Yeah,
okay to be broken, and oh, it was so sweet. I loved it.
me too.
Mhm.
And of course, a Christmas morning with the Brenner family, Roy,
Mhm.
Caroline, and Susie, the dance
The
to
dance, and Thomas joined them, which was adorable.
yeah, the Sugar Plum Fairy
Mhm.
song from the Nutcracker. Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies.
Yes.
So good.
I liked that because at first when they started doing it, I was like, oh, okay, is the screen gonna go black, when they do this, or like in the first movie,
Yeah.
but I love that they did the whole dance and
Yes.
Thomas joined them. So
Yeah.
that was awesome.
Yeah. I knew they were
So
going to
fun.
do the whole dance.
Oh, good. I was really surprised because I was like, oh, I bet they're gonna cut it off again. And then when they did the whole thing, I'm like, oh yay, we get to see it.
Yes. Well, I think there's a promotional photo on Hallmark's
Mhm.
website of them doing the dance, and there's one from the end when they do the tree.
Oh, yes. And now that you mention it, I think there's a shot somewhere of the the booty shot.
Yeah, the booty. So funny. That is so funny.
Oh, and Miles slash Thomas, he did great with that dance.
He did.
Yeah, he learned it well.
Yeah. It's such a fun dance.
It's such a fun dance. It would
Yeah,
be really fun to learn it and
I think so too.
actually do it. How many times between both movies they rehearsed that dance?
I don't know. I would be interested to know that.
Mhm.
So maybe on to our misses. Was there anything that you didn't like or wished for in this movie?
I really don't think I had any misses, and I genuinely liked
Yeah.
everything I saw, everything about the movie. I did I did have a going into it, I had a prediction, it didn't come true. I thought that maybe Sophie and Luke would realize that they were pregnant at
Oh,
the end of the movie, and it would be like, oh, and like another kid, and it's totally fine that that didn't
yeah,
happen,
of
but I
course.
was kind of like, oh, is that gonna happen
Yeah,
maybe?
that would be fun. Yeah. Maybe in another one. If
But
there's
yeah, hey, I wouldn't be surprised. We're already at two, might as well do a third.
yeah, might as well. And we could have Stefan and Susie's wedding too.
Yeah, oh, a Christmas wedding.
That would be so fun.
That would be so fun.
I think the only thing that was a miss for me, now it didn't make the movie not enjoyable. I still enjoyed
Mhm,
it. But the storyline with giving Roy a hard time
mhm,
drug on maybe a little too long.
mm. I agree with that.
I mean, I understand it was probably part of the story, which is
Mhm,
okay. I mean, I
mhm,
totally understand that. But I think that Luke, Taylor, and Stefan could have given him a chance earlier on
mm.
instead of
I
being
agree.
on him.
I agree with that. I would have liked to see maybe one or two more scenes with them, getting along with him, being happy in his company. I agree with that.
I mean, it was still great. The movie was still enjoyable, but
Oh, absolutely. And it was great when he came over Christmas and they opened the door, and he's like, I hope I'm not interrupting. And they're like, no, come on in. Like, and okay, like that's so beautiful. Like
yes.
they brought him into the family, and
This was more of a wish for me. I thought it would have been fun to see maybe a flashback scene of
oh,
Luke and Sophie's wedding.
yes. Oh, I would have loved to see that actually. Yeah.
But I
That would have,
understand.
right, for sure. Yeah. There's only,
Yeah.
so much that they can do. But maybe, like you said, if they make a third one with Stefan and Susie's wedding, then maybe that would give Luke and Sophie a chance to talk about their wedding.
Yes, that would be really fun. Like,
All right, Hallmark, hoping for number 3.
we need number 3. Moving on to ratings, what would you give the cast out of 5?
A 5.
Yeah, I said 5. And
Yeah.
chemistry?
5.
Yeah. Or the chemistry between the family, 5, and then the romantic chemistry, 5.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
And Christmas feels?
Oh, this I'm close to a 5.
Okay.
Maybe like a 4.5.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. I think a
Mm-hmm.
4.5.
Mm-hmm.
I would say too. And
Yeah.
then setting?
5.
Yeah, setting is a 5. I mean, the home was beautiful.
Oh, that house, well, Luke's house too now, but the mom's house is just gorgeous. Yeah.
I agree. And story?
5.
I said 4.5, just based
Yeah.
on what I said before. But
Oh, for sure.
4.5 is still good for me. That is very high.
That's still a great rating. Yeah.
And then overall?
A 5.
Yeah, I said 4.5. I don't know if that math is right, but
That's still a really good rating.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's still great. I really enjoyed this movie.
I really, really did too. Sequels are, of course, tough, at least for me. I always go into it thinking it's going to be good, but right away, of course, I think, oh, is it going to be as good as the first one? But this one was right up there with the first one. I would say it was just as good. It was a great sequel.
I think so too. And you just mentioned it. Sequels are hard to top the first. And sometimes it's done well, sometimes it's not. I think of a couple of other movies that it was done well. Like Legally Blonde was one. That's a rom-com, of course.
Yes. Oh, I love Legally Blonde so much.
Princess Diaries 2.
Yes. Yes. So good. I'm excited for the third one. Sorry, segue. Yay.
Segue. So excited for the Princess Diaries 3.
Me too. Me too. It's about time.
It's about dang time.
Yes.
I think that they are filming it probably soon. But you can't have the Princess Diaries without Julie Andrews. You just can't.
No, you can't. She's the queen. She is the queen. You have to have it with her. Well, technically, Anne Hathaway's character did become queen, but Julie Andrews is the original queen.
The grandmother. Yes, you have to have Julie Andrews.
You have to. You have to. But it's not Princess Diaries without her.
Nope. And then one more I have to say, getting into Disney Channel nostalgia, High School Musical.
Yes, I totally agree. All 3 were so good.
Yes, all 3 were great.
I agree.
Well, this was so much fun, Brennan. Thank you again for joining me. I had a great time.
This was so much fun, Nicole. Thank you again for having me. And I love talking about these movies with you. It's a blast. Thank you so much.
I can't wait to have you back on again very soon.
I can't wait to come back anytime.
All right, Hallmarkies, I think that wraps up our review of Three Wiser Men and a Boy. If you enjoyed this episode and are watching on YouTube, you can like this video and share your thoughts about the movie in the comments. If you are listening on Spotify, make sure to rate and review, as your feedback is always greatly appreciated. If you want to stay up to date on all of my episodes, you can subscribe to this channel on YouTube or follow along on Spotify, and make sure to turn on the bell so you are alerted when new episodes come. You can also find the podcast on Facebook and Instagram at Swing My Heart Podcast and Twitter at Swing My Heart Pod. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are in the world, and we will see you next time. We love y'all. Bye.
Bye.